The Justice Department has fired more than a dozen officials who worked on special counsel Jack Smith's team prosecuting President Donald Trump. Their work included now dismissed investigations into his handling of classified documents and alleged efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 election. It comes just days after the president fired more than a dozen inspectors general. Now, while the replacement of some of the independent watchdogs is not uncommon with new administrations, federal law does require the president to give Congress 30 days notice and case-specific details for firing an inspector general. President Trump did not do that, and the action could face legal challenges. Now, some of the fired inspectors general include those the president appointed himself during his first term. Marc Raimondi joins me now. He is a visiting fellow at the National Security Institute and a former acting director of public affairs at the Department of Justice. He served during President Trump's first administration. Thank you for being here. What do inspectors general do? And in your opinion, is it important to make sure they are independent and nonpartisan?
Well, yeah, the inspector general is responsible for looking within the organization they're assigned to root out fraud, waste, and abuse. They do have mandates from Congress to be independent. It's always the desire to be independent, and they sit kind of outside the normal chain of command within the organizations, and they do reports. They have a lot of autonomy, and their reports are of tremendous interest to Congress, but also the taxpayer.
So when you saw this news, did that surprise you?
Well, look, elections have consequences. It's the president's right to put the people in place that he feels he needs to. I'm not aware of a mass firing like this in the past, and there is some talk on whether obviously the 30-day notification and detailed cause was not provided. I see some debate on whether the president really needed to do that or whether he had some wiggle room. I'm sure it will be litigated.
There was a memo last week from the Justice Department ordering federal prosecutors to investigate state or local officials interfering with President Trump's immigration crackdown. Is there a precedent for that kind of order?
Well, the Department of Justice has to go on the priorities of the president in power. After 9/11, we had focus on terrorism. President Trump has made it very clear that he intends to fully enforce the laws of our immigration laws. It gets a little fuzzy on whether you can compel the state and locals. The 10th Amendment principle of federalism limits the ability for the federal government to compel state and locals to enforce federal law. I think you're much more likely. So it's not very common to prosecute state or federal officials for not complying. I think it's much more common to see some carrot and stick initiatives with the sanctuary cities, those who are just refusing to cooperate.
Can you explain that a little bit more? What do you mean by that?
Well, I think that there could be some incentives for those that do and some penalties for those that don't, withholding federal aid. That was tried in the first administration of President Trump with limited success, but it's a new day, so we'll see where that goes. I think that there's a lot more. This administration coming in is a lot smarter and more savvy than they were when they came in the first time. I think they probably looked at this, and I think they probably have a lot of plans for how to compel the state and locals to comply with the efforts they are to on the immigration front.
Turning back now to the Justice Department firing more than a dozen officials who worked on special counsel Jack Smith's team prosecuting Donald Trump. How typical would a firing like this be? Is this also not coming as a huge surprise to you?
Well, the devil's in the details. Who are the people? Were they career? Were they Schedule C, or were they term appointees? If they were career officials, obviously career officials have some protections. You can remove them. It generally has to be for cause. I have not seen who was removed or what the cause alleged to be. But again, career officials have protections. I'm sure this too will be litigated.
Marc Raimondi, thank you for being here. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Lindsay. Take care.
You too.